Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Sunday morning in the old cookbook show. Today we're going to do another recipe out of this cookbook sent in by a viewer, thank you very much. Written by Miss Weston and Miss Sylvester and published in 1898. It comes from a town in England where apparently they don't pronounce vowels the way that the rest of us do. So I'm not going to say the name of the town. I do know how to say it now though, because people took quite a bit of time to ridicule me. And I also got text messages. That's uncool. If you are going so far as to find my phone number, to text me in the middle of the night to tell me that I pronounced the name of this town wrong, you've gone too far. You've gone too far. So into this double boiler, I have put chocolate and sugar. Now, the recipe that we're making today is called chocolate cream. And it calls for Cadbury's chocolate. And I had to look up the dates for this book and Cadbury's chocolate, because I associate Cadbury's chocolate with milk chocolate. But in 1898, it probably wasn't milk chocolate. I mean, there's a chance that it could have been milk chocolate. This cookbook was published in 1898. 1897 seems to be the year that Cadbury put out their first milk chocolate bar. So it's entirely possible that it could be milk chocolate that they're asking for, but I would have thought that in the instructions, if they were asking for this new thing, milk chocolate, it would say Cadbury's milk chocolate or Cadbury's dairy bar. Although I don't think they called it dairy bar until much later. I'd have to go back to the research and take a look at that. There's a whole pile of other things in this recipe that I want to talk about. It's almost melted. The next thing that I want to talk about is vanilla. This recipe calls for a little vanilla brandy. Now, I had to go back and research vanilla brandy. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is vanilla extract made with brandy, which would have been sort of the alcohol of choice at that time period for a whole pile of things. But brandy in 1898 is on a decline because of phylloxera in Europe killing all of the grapevines, or destroying most of the grapevines, as they tried to figure out how to grow grapes in the face of this new pest that came from North America. Phylloxera wipes out the grapes and brandy sort of goes into decline. They start making vanilla extract with straight grain alcohol or neutral grain spirit or something that doesn't have any flavor that brings out the flavor of the vanilla. And so the next thing you're probably going to say to me is, well, wait a second, what about bourbon vanilla? Well, it's not bourbon vanilla, it's bourbon vanilla. Bourbon, meaning that it comes from Ile Bourbon in the South Indian Ocean, an island that is now today called Reunion. But in the 1840s, it was called Ile Bourbon after the French aristocratic family that owned the island and ran all the plantations on the island. So just, to go back over a little bit about vanilla, because we've done this before, but let's just sort of go there again. Vanilla comes originally from Mexico. And one of the problems with vanilla is that it has incredible flavor, but we as humans didn't know how to propagate it, how to get the flour to produce the bean that we would then dry and turn into the spice that we know as vanilla. So this is gelatin, and I'm supposed to mix it in with the chocolate mixture. So let's mix that in. So this is going to take a lot of stirring to get the gelatin to mix in without clumping. So let me stir away at this. So when Europeans arrive in Mexico and they see vanilla, they realize immediately the economic potential that vanilla represents as a spice, as a flavoring. And they very quickly take the plant all over the planet. And one of the places they take it is to Madagascar and Ile Bourbon, which is right beside Madagascar. But what they didn't realize was that in Mexico, where vanilla is native to, there's only one insect that pollinates the plant. And only in a very small area does this insect pollinate the plant. So they could never ramp up production. They couldn't grow vanilla anywhere else. They could grow the plant all over, but they couldn't get the flower to pollinate. And they couldn't figure out how to pollinate the flower. So that that movement of the plant, happens in the 15, 16, 1700s. It's not until 1841 on Ile Bourbon, a 12-year-old slave figures out how to pollinate the plant so that they could grow vanilla commercially. And in those years between 1841 and when this book is published in 1898, vanilla production explodes, absolutely explodes. It takes a little while to ramp up because they have to get everything in place and figure it all out. But as soon as it ramps up, takes off, it explodes, and vanilla supplants all of the flavorings that were used before then. When I go back through the old cookbooks, there's a lot of rose water used. There's a lot of orange blossom water used. Musk is often a flavoring in desserts, as is ambergris. Ambergris is used extensively in the 16 and 1700s as a flavoring for desserts. So you come forward to this point in 1898, vanilla has taken over and it's being made in brandy, or it's being extracted in brandy. And sort of post-1898, post-1900, as brandy took a giant hit because of phylloxera, you then start to see it in neutral grain spirit. Not bourbon, not American whiskey. That is the name of the island where it was grown. Okay, now we need to whip some cream. Now, the recipe calls for a pint of cream to be whipped. So I've got the stand mixer out here and we're going to whip the cream. Now this is, I've said this before, and it leads to a huge amount of confusion in the comment section. This is an English cookbook, 1898. It's calling for an Imperial pint. An Imperial pint is a different size than an American pint. An American pint is 16 US fluid ounces. An Imperial pint is 20 Imperial ounces. Even the base ounces are different between the Imperial ounce and the US fluid ounce. Different size ounces, different size pints. Earlier, I put a half a gill of milk in here with the chocolate. The Imperial gill is different than the US gill in both the number of ounces that are in it and the size. I will put all that information in the description box for people who want to compare. It trips a lot of people up that there is this difference in both the size of the pint and the ounce. Even though they're the same word, they're different things. Okay, this is where the recipe gets a little bit weird to me because the chocolate is melted. It's hot. It's not super hot. I mean, I can hold my hands on the pot, but it's hot enough that it is, liquid. It's melted. And I'm supposed to put that into the cream. I'm supposed to stir it in well. Which, to me, kind of sounds like it presents a little bit of a problem, I would think. Whipped cream. Because anytime you mix something hot into something cold, especially something like whipped cream, I would think that you'd lose quite a bit of the loft that you've just beaten into it. So let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I'm also supposed to put it into a fancy mold. I wasn't really sure how much it was going to produce. So this plain, simple glass bowl is going to be my fancy mold. Okay, so let's start out just with a little bit. Okay, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. Let's put in a little bit more. And we'll mix in the last of the chocolate. The chocolate might have hardened a little bit more than it was supposed to. And that gelatin that I've added certainly speeds that along. So let's get the last of this mixed in. And it doesn't tell me to chill it. It just says to mold it. I would have to imagine that chilling it would help. Certainly would help. So I'm going to put this into the fridge for probably half an hour before we taste it. Hey, Jules.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends. That looks chocolatey.
It does look
I'm
chocolate.
assuming it is. It has that look. Glenn's already giggling, so clearly he's enjoying whatever it is he just licked off the spoon.
Yes. So this is, what is this?
I don't know.
Let me get the cookbook so I get the name of the recipe correct. Where was it?
It looks very kind of moussey.
Where was it? Huh.
It's very chocolatey, puddingy, moussey, but there's something, there's more texture to it.
Yeah, so it's,
Are there chunks of chocolate or what?
chocolate cream. So it's whipped cream, sugar, milk melted together with chocolate, and some gelatin. And so you mix the melted chocolate with gelatin into the whipped cream. And so the gelatin gives it, kind of stabilizes it a little bit.
It's kind of fun because I think it would be really good on something else as well. Like, I like it as pudding. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if you had like a white cake or...
Oh, yeah.
You
There's
know?
a filling between cakes. Mm-hmm. With a regular icing on top, but this is sort of like that cream layer in the middle.
Or dappled on a cookie or...
Inside a cannoli.
Oh, there you go. See? So many things.
Inside any kind of pastry like that where you could pipe it inside the pastry. This would be amazing. And then just in a bowl. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I used a dark chocolate. A milk chocolate would work fine. I think this is really good. I'm happy with this. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. I'm just going to keep eating.
I know mine's gone, as always.